Welcome to the Nat 5 Fashion and Textile Technology supported study resource. The learning intentions for this lesson will be to explain the types of questions that will appear in a Nat 5 Fashion and Textile Technology question paper. We also intend to explain how marks are awarded for the answers. Your success criteria will be: I can produce answers to exam questions, I can achieve full marks. During this presentation, you will see two symbols. The first one is asking you to correct work, which will be tasks that you have completed. And the second one is asking you to pause the video to give yourself time to complete a task. Under normal circumstances, when you're preparing for a Nat 5 Fashion and Textile Technology assessment, you will be assessed on three different components. The first component is a question paper which is worth 30 marks overall. This is 30% of the coursework assessment. The paper is set and marked by the SQA. There are 3 questions in the question paper, and each question will be worth 10 marks. You will be asked questions which are based on the course content. The second component of the assessment is an assignment which is worth 50 marks. This is 35% of the course assessment, and it's submitted to the SQA for marking. The third component is a practical activity which is worth 50 marks. This is carried out in class and it's worth 35% of the course assessment. This part will be marked by the centre staff, so your teachers, and it's subject to verification from the SQA. So when you get the question paper, you will come across 4 different types of questions, and these are all identified by keywords or command words. The first one is state, name, give or identify. The second one is describe. The third one is explain. And the fourth one is evaluate. Now, the best way to work through these questions is to keep the command, content and calculate formula in your head. You look for the command words, you look at the content of the question, and you calculate where the marks will be given. And I'll explain this to you as we go through this presentation. So the first type of question that we're going to look at today is the state, name, give and identify one. In these questions, you're asked to provide a shorter answer. You'll be asked to provide a number of items or facts that are relevant to the question. So the example I'm going to give you here is taken from the 2018 paper. A teenager is going to buy the following hooded top to wear at a sports event. And the question you're being asked is to name one synthetic fibre that would be suitable for the hooded top. Give 2 reasons why the fibre is suitable. And this question is worth 3 marks overall. So from this example, you can see that the command words are name and give. This question has 2 command words in it. Name one synthetic fibre that would be suitable for the hooded top. So we can deduce from this we will get 1 mark for naming the synthetic fibre. The other 2 marks we can see are from giving 2 reasons why the fibre is suitable. So here is an example of an answer that would be, which would get the full marks. So the synthetic fibre would be nylon or polyamide, and the reason would be easy to care for. So the hooded top will maintain a smart appearance. This will get 1 mark. And the second reason, because it's asking for 2 reasons, it has low absorbency, so the hooded top will dry quickly, saving time, or it will be ready to be worn again soon. So you receive a mark for each of these points, and that's how you get the 3 marks. So the first practice task I'm going to get you to do is a nice straightforward one, and this is from the 2019 paper. There are 4 symbols on this slide, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the question is asking you to identify each of the following pattern markings that would be found on the paper pattern for the top. Now remember, identify the command word, see the content of the question, and then calculate how you're going to get the marks. Pause this video and complete the question. When you've finished answering the question, you can restart the video and we'll go through possible answers. So here are our answers to this question. You can see first of all that our command word is identify. So we know from this it's looking for short answers. So identify each of the following pattern markings that would be found on the paper pattern for the top. And for 4 marks, and there are 4 pictures. So we can easily deduce that we require 4 answers, 4 short answers to get the 4 marks. So the first image here is a double-ended arrow, and we know that this is the green line. The second arrow we have on here with the end folded under is the symbol that we would find when a pattern piece is to be placed on a fold. The third picture here is notches or balance marks. And then the fourth picture we can see is for a pleat position with the arrow pointing in the direction of the pleat. Now these are short, straightforward answers, and this is all that is required to get the 4 marks. The second type of question that we're going to look at is a describe question. This means that you have to define or give an account of a number of points of information linked to the question. So the first example we're going to look at for this one is from the 2018 paper again, and it is asking you to describe 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages of buying a hooded top online. So from this question, we can see that the command word is describe. It is saying 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages, and it is worth 4 marks overall. So it's clear to work out where the marks are being gained. 2 marks available for advantages and 2 marks available for disadvantages. You will not receive an extra mark, for example, if you came up with 3 advantages. You can only get a maximum of 2 marks for 2 advantages and a maximum of 2 marks for 2 disadvantages. So the answers that we've put in here, for example, you can see advantage number 1, you can compare features of different tops more easily, so save time. Advantage number 2, you can try on the top at home to make a better judgment. Disadvantage number 1, you must have internet access to buy the hooded top. And disadvantage number 2, may take longer or the hooded top may not be in stock. So each of these get 1 mark because not only do they give a reason, they're also giving detail, they're relating it back to the case. So your answers must tie back into the case, into the question. So here is our practice question. This question comes from the 2019 paper. So it is question 2b. Describe 2 checks that the designer could carry out to ensure that the fabric to be used for the cushion is environmentally friendly. As before, pause this video and have a go at answering this question. Once you have done this, you can restart the video and we will go through possible answers. So for the practice question, describe was the keyword, the command word. There are 2 marks available for this, and we can see that it is asking for 2 checks that the designer could carry out to ensure that the fabric to be used for the cushion is environmentally friendly. In the paper, it says check 1 and check 2, so it has given you space to put your answers in. So here are some possible answers that you could have come up with. Remember, these answers must be related back to the cushion or the fabric that the cushion is going to be made from. So you may come up with it has to be recyclable, it is made from or contains recycled materials, it is easily biodegradable, it is produced using green, organic manufacturing processes without harmful chemical products, natural dyes may be used, the company that produces the fabric has a wide sustainability policy, the company that produces the fabric has a policy for minimising, reducing the amount of packaging used, minimum packaging used, packaging is recyclable, made from recycled materials. Please ensure that if you're giving yourself a mark, that you have mentioned the cushion and the cushion fabric in your answer. So the third type of question that we're going to look at is an explain question. For these questions, you have to provide more detailed points of information which make the relationship clear by showing connections. A good rule to remember when answering any explain question is the BATS rule. BATS stands for because, as, therefore, or so. By using these words in your sentence, it turns a statement into an explanation. So here is our example for the third type of question. This again is taken from the 2018 paper. A fashion designer is creating a range of outfits for a celebrity performer to wear on stage. Some of the designs will be made into a collection that will be sold by a fashion retailer. Explain 4 factors that need to be considered by the designer when planning the collection to be sold by the retailer. And this is worth 4 marks. So we can see that the 4 factors, the explanation of the 4 factors will get you 4 marks, 1 mark for each. So here are some examples of some ideas, some answers. The designer will need to consider the celebrity performer, as the design should clearly reflect the style or the genre of the performer. The designer will need to consider the style, as designs should be an appropriate style for the target age group. The designer will need to consider the fabrics and embellishments, because they should imitate those in the items worn by the celebrity. The designer will need to consider cost, as it should be priced to make a profit for the retailer. And you can see here that we've used the because, as, therefore, and so rule. For example, if I had just said the designer will need to consider the celebrity performer, that would have just been a statement and not an explanation and would not have got the mark. So by adding in the as and creating the answer, developing the answer more, I can see that I will get the mark for this. So here is another practice question for you to try. This one is taken from the 2019 paper. Explain 2 factors to consider when laundering the cushion to reduce impact on the environment. Now, as before, just pause this video, have a go at completing the task yourself, and then when you're ready and happy with your answer, you can start the video again and we will go through some possible explanations. So, we can see the command word was explain, and we've looked at the content of the question, which is laundering the cushion to reduce the impact on the environment, and we've calculated the marks. So it's 2 factors that they're looking for, and there are 2 marks available. So therefore, we can take 2 marks, 1 mark for each factor. So here are some possible answers. Now remember, using an explanation, you want to use the because, as, so, or therefore rule. So you could have mentioned something about using an environmentally friendly washing product to reduce the use of chemicals or avoid putting chemicals into the sewage water system. You may have mentions to wash at lowest possible temperatures to reduce fuel consumption. You might have mentioned using the shortest suitable wash program to reduce fuel or water consumption. Washing the cushion along with other items to maximise the wash load, or use the half load option to reduce fuel, water or detergent consumption. Do not bleach to avoid putting chemicals into the water sewage system. Do not line dry or do not tumble dry to reduce fuel consumption. Avoid dry cleaning to avoid putting chemicals into the sewage or the water system. Wipe, sponge clean where possible to reduce fuel, water, detergent consumption. All of these are good explanations, provided that you have put them into context with the question. So remember, you will get 1 mark for each of the explanation that has a link. So it's a relevant point to consider when laundering the cushion and a possible reduction of its impact on the environment, such as reducing energy, reducing water, reducing energy usage. Now, just to clarify the difference between the describe questions and explain questions. We have an example here. So for a describe question, this one is saying describe 4 design features that would be important for a baby's soft toy. So we can see the describe is a short answer. It says all features should be securely attached. Whereas the explain question is explain the importance of 4 design features for a baby's soft toy. You can see the answer there tells a bit more of a story. The eyes should be secure so that the baby cannot get them off and swallow them. The 4th type of question that we're going to look at is the evaluate question. In an evaluate question, you need to make a number of evaluative comments which make a judgment which is based upon the information provided relevant to the context of the question. There is a good rule to use to make sure that you're making the judgment clear. So, judgment property link, JPL. You may be awarded further marks if you include a developed answer relating to the judgment. So in this example, taken from the 2018 paper, we are looking at the hooded top again. This is the hooded top that features in the first question. The hooded top is made of knitted fabric. Evaluate the suitability of 3 key features of knitted fabrics. Evaluative comments must include reference to the hooded top. So this is worth 3 marks. So it's asking us to evaluate the suitability of 3 key features of the fabric. So therefore we can see where the 3 marks will be coming from. So I have 3 possible answers here. The judgment is that you can say it's either suitable or not suitable or less suitable. So the judgment in my first statement is that the knitted fabrics are suitable. The performance aspect is because they are soft. And the link is therefore the hooded top will be more comfortable to wear during sports. The second one, I have knitted fabrics are suitable. Again, that's my judgment. The property is because they trap air. And the link is so it will keep the wearer of the hooded top warm if the event is outside. The final answer that I have on here, the judgment is that knitted fabrics are less suitable. The property is because they can catch and ladder. And the link is so the hooded top will not be as durable for sports. So each of these have picked up 1 mark. You will not get a mark if you only include part of the answer. So here's a practice question for you. This one is taken from the 2019 paper. A fashion company is planning to produce a range of party wear. A 100% polyester fabric is being used for the top. Evaluate the suitability of 4 key aspects of polyester. Evaluative comments must include reference to the top, and this is worth 4 marks. So pause the video and have a go at answering this question, and when you're ready, start the video again and we'll go through some possible answers. So looking at the question, we can see that the command word was evaluate, and we're looking at the suitability of 4 key aspects of polyester, and we can also see that this is a 4-mark question, so it's clear where our 4 marks are going to come from. So here are some possible answers that you could have come up with. To make it easier to see, I've highlighted the judgments in blue, and I've highlighted the properties that you could have chosen in yellow. So, for example, one of your answers could be that polyester was suitable. And if you were using the fact that it's abrasion resistant as your property, you could mention as the top would be durable and withstand wear and tear, so it would last a long time. You may want to talk about its crease resistance as its property. Therefore, you could put down the judgment as this would be suitable, as it sheds creases readily, so the top will look smart. You may want to talk about its low absorbency as its property. So your judgment could be either that it was suitable, as it will be quick drying, so the top can be worn again quickly, or you may want to mention that it could be less suitable, as it will not absorb perspiration, so the top may become uncomfortable to wear. If you can manage to create an answer like this, you will get a mark for each one. It's really important to remember with these questions that you will be awarded 1 mark for each relevant evaluative comment linked to the context of the question. You get a mark awarded if it identifies the relevant property of the fabric. You have to have a judgment, so that's where is it suitable, is it less suitable, is it totally unsuitable, and that has to be linked to the fabric property, and it's specifically linked to the requirements of the top. So with that one, we were talking about a top for party wear. So looking back at this presentation, our learning intentions were to explain the types of questions that will appear in a Nat 5 Fashion and Textile Technology question paper. We also wanted to explain how the marks would be awarded for answers. The success criteria is to produce answers to exam questions that can achieve full marks. So next steps that I would recommend, you can access National 5 past papers and marking instructions on the SQA website. If you're unsure where to get them, if you type into your search bar SQA Nat 5 Fashion and Textile Technology past papers, you'll actually get taken directly to the page. When you have past papers, they're a great way to see the standard of detail and the work that's required to gain maximum marks. You can use them in several ways. One idea is to use them with the marking schemes and write out several versions of acceptable answers. You could also try and sit the exam from start to finish in your home and then mark your own answers using the marking instructions. And another suggestion is to look over several years of papers and then try and find common questions and themes or content. Don't forget, if you're struggling or if there's anything that you're ever unsure of, your teacher is there to help you. So you can always get in touch with them and they'll be happy to help.